Hello everybody, I'm John Axtell from Guildford Astronomical Society and of course from Stars Over Surrey on Brooklands Radio. So welcome to my Constellation of the Month. So here we are at the screen, ready for April's Constellation of the Month. As per usual, I'd like to show you the star field containing the constellation and trust that you can spot it. I'm sure you can. It's one of the best known constellations in the Northern Hemisphere. Always easier, of course, when we've got those lines on the between the stars that we see on star maps. Let's put those in for you. There you go, Ursa Major, the Great Bear. Okay, I know that bears don't have long tails really, but the legend has it that when Zeus, the god, decided to put the bear into the night sky, he grabbed hold of it by its tail, its little short tail, and swung it round his head before flinging it up into the heavens. And that's why the tail stretched. Well, it's as good a story as any others. Okay, so let's have a closer look at Ursa Major. And I'll do that starting off with my old tea cards, which show the stars. And as most Boy Scouts, Girl Guides, etc. will know, Dubhe and Merak, the stars at the end of that centre, brighter part of the constellation, form the pointers that point off to Polaris, the pole star. And as the back of the card shows, it also has some other names. The parts of it are given other names like the Dipper, the Plough, and so on. And I do want to talk about that because when I first showed you the constellation, I'm sure that some of you would have said, that's the Plough. But it's important to know the difference. That's the Plough. The Plough isn't a constellation. The Plough is just part of a constellation. There's a couple of other names. I believe that's what it's called in North America, the Big Dipper or the Saucepan. But the correct name for that part of the constellation, or rather for a group of stars that make up an identifiable shape, we call that an asterism, a collection of stars. One of those stars is quite an important one. If you look in the tail, the middle star in the tail is called Mizar. We're going to come back to that in just a short while. But first of all, we ought to have a look where to find the Plough at this time of the year. It's actually what we call a circumpolar constellation. And so never sets below the horizon from at least our latitudes. Let's have a look to see where to find Ursa Major. Sorry, I forgot. I was going to tell you about Mizar, wasn't I? Mizar isn't actually one single star. It was actually used in Roman times as a test of a legionnaire's eyesight. Could they see that middle star in the tail and look to see whether it's a single star or not? And most people with naked eye can see that it is made up of two stars. That image you see there, of course, just shows the diffraction spikes. That's an optical feature because of the type of telescope that was used to take that photograph. So Mizar is the main primary star of the pair, and Alcor is its smaller, fainter companion. But when you get a higher powered telescope, onto Mizar, you'll see that it's actually itself a very close binary star. Let's have a look at that. There you see it. So over on the right hand side you can see Mizar is in fact has two components. That little star in the middle there, that is merely a background star. It isn't part of the system. So there we actually have three stars that are bound gravitationally together. Okay, now we'll go on and have a look to see where to find it. And I trust you can see it straight away. It's more or less straight overhead. So at this time of the year, it's actually a good time that I like to look at it because the air is thinner directly above us. We're not looking through a great width of air. But it does mean that it's uncomfortable if you're trying to use binoculars or a telescope to look at it, a refracting type of telescope. So the best way of looking at Ursa Major at this time of year is to lie back on a lounger with binoculars and look up. Otherwise you'd be craning your neck. But with my type of telescope, which is called a Dobsonian, it's quite easy to look up at the faint galaxies that can be found in that constellation's general vicinity. So let's have a look and see what's to be found in there. And straight away we can see that there's a really good pair of galaxies close together, M81 and M82. One a spiral galaxy and one an irregular galaxy. And one of those, M81, is so bright that some people with very, very good vision, as long as they're in perfect conditions with no light pollution and a crystal clear sky, believe that they can see that one naked eye. But you've got to know where to look. I certainly can't, but binoculars do show it well. But there are quite a few more Messier objects within Ursa Major. Let's have a look. There's another wonderful galaxy, M101. I'll tell you about that in just a little while. I've got some photographs of those coming up. And two more spiral galaxies, 109 and 108. And another Messier object that isn't a galaxy, and that's a nebula, the Owl Nebula M97. And there's one more that you might spot, M40. Let's highlight that one. Bit of a mystery, this one, as to why Messier actually included it in his catalogue. Maybe he saw a comet there, a fuzzy patch. When he looked again, it was gone. I really don't know, but he classed something there as M40 and plotted the position. But all that there seems to be is a pair of stars, maybe with a faint little bit of wispiness around them, but that's about it. But apart from the double star Mizar, which I've already mentioned to you, there are several other double stars as well. Let's bring those up. So, and the figures there show you the magnitude. So Mizar is at magnitude 2.3 up in the top left I'm showing you, and Alcor is at magnitude 4, a lot fainter. And there's another one to add in as well. There we go. And also of interest, a star that seems to disappear. You can just about see this one with binoculars. Ursa Majoris, magnitude 6.5, and then it really fades away to 13.7 and comes back again. And of course I must point out this graphic is taken from, with permission, from the website of Richard Dibben Smith, and you can see his website address there. It's a highly commended website for you to look at, an excellent resource. Let's have a look at those galaxies. M81 and 82 are really close together and can both be seen in in a wide field view, certainly in binoculars, or even in a low-powered eyepiece in a telescope. M81 is the lower one of the two. Let's have a closer look at that. And there you can see its distance, 4.5 million light years away. So, yeah, relatively close in astronomical terms. And you can see its magnitude is just 6.9. So in theory, within eyesight range for a healthy adult with good eyes, in perfect conditions. And it's fairly large as well. You can see its discoverer, Johann Bode. Sometimes this galaxy is actually referred to as Bode's galaxy. The other one, though, M82, is a lot further away, 17 million light years away, and a lot fainter and a lot smaller too, but discovered in the same year by the same gentleman. Let's look at some more of the galaxies. Whoops, I beg your pardon. Let's go back. There we are, M108 and M109. Not connected at all, just happen to be in the same part of the constellation, discovered in the same year, again by the same gentleman. Pierre McShane in this particular instance. Now back to that wonderful galaxy that I inadvertently showed you just a tad earlier. So this is M101, a fantastic galaxy. So somewhere away, 17.5 million light years, and you'd think fairly bright, magnitude 7.9 and 28 arc minutes. That's almost the same width as the full moon. So you'd think that would be easy to find. Sadly, it's not. It's because of what we call its surface brightness. That magnitude 7.9 is smeared out over quite a wide area. And so it's got a very low surface brightness. And with a telescope, you can be looking straight through it without knowing. I think my best views of this have probably been through good high-powered binoculars, which are great at collecting light. I really suggest that you try using some nice binos on a good clear night and try to find your way to M101. But it's got a fantastic spiral structure, as you can see. Now let's have a look at that nebula, the Owl Nebula. This is the remains of a star that has sloughed off its outer atmosphere, leaving a white dwarf core of remnant of the star at the centre, and you're seeing the gas that has been thrown off in the death throes of that star. So there you are, some wonderful objects to be found within the constellation. Do get out there, make yourself comfortable and look almost vertically and lay back on a lounger or a deck chair with binos and enjoy Ursa Major, the Great Bear. Until next month, goodbye for now.